Hi, and welcome to another episode of our podcast here, Flippin' Rich. So, Peter, what we want to talk about is what are some of the best ways to market yourself as a new investor? And how important is that? If someone is brand new, right, like they're just getting into the business, what is the first thing they should do?
Well, first of all, what you said is so important. It is critical. And there are businesses where you build them in a vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess if I own a dry cleaner, I don't want my competition across the street to know everything about me, and I'm probably not going to be high-fiving him every time I come to work and stuff like that. So quite a bit of businesses you do in a vacuum. You kind of isolate yourself. You definitely don't make it known what you're doing, and because there's competition, there's scarcity. Not in real estate. Real estate is 100% opposite. So you're absolutely right. To be a successful real estate investor, there's certain things that you got to do in the beginning, right? One of them is you got to get your name out there. You got to get your name out there for people to know you, but most importantly, Julie, and this, is for you to know them. Because if you think about it, even when I was single as an investor, when it was just myself, right? Every deal required multiple people. What are you going to do? Okay, let's say you're doing this business by yourself, and you're like, I'm going to be a one-man show. I don't want to know anyone. I don't want anyone to know me. Okay, so what? You're going to go find it yourself? I guess you could. You're gonna identify the right closing agent. I guess you could. You're gonna get into money raising, which is a business unto itself. Yourself. Are you gonna be your own contractor? Are you gonna be your own real estate? You know what I mean? If you think about it, every deal we always talk about it has a bunch of parts to it, but also if you think about it, every deal has a bunch of people to it. And so the reason it's absolutely critical to get out there and get your name known, but most importantly for people to also know you, I think it's more important for you to know the right people, is to make a deal work, you got to know people. And let me just say this also. You got to know the right people, because you know my story, and I know some people out there don't know my story, but my story is I got started in this business. I kind of got the concept of you got to know people, but what I didn't get the concept is you got to know the right people. So guess what? The first realtor I went with him. The first contractor I met, I went with him. The first money guy that was willing to give me money, I borrowed from him. The first closing agent that I literally met, I remember, at some event I went with. And so I did the right thing conceptually, getting the people together, but I didn't do the next step. I didn't qualify these people. I didn't get to know these people. And in the end, that cost me dearly. Cost me a lot of time, cost me a lot of effort, cost me a tremendous amount of money. But so it is, so going back to what we're talking about, absolutely critical to get to know the people in your area, for them to get to know you, get to know the right people. But the good news is that in today's marketplace, it's very easy
to get yourself out there.
Oh, it's very easy. Like when I got started, I think when I got started, the word internet wasn't even the word. You know what I mean?
Well, don't date yourself, Peter.
Well, let's face it. It's the truth. And so back then it was a lot harder. Like back then, for me to meet someone, I had to do what we're doing right now.
Yeah, go to an event.
I had to go. Yeah. Had to do it. Today, you and I can get on our smartphones, right? We can Google the right information, and we can meet 50 people within 50 miles of here. You know what I mean? So, but having said that, I still do believe in networking events. I still do believe in FaceTime, meaning get your face in front of the right people. I still believe in getting into the right circles, into the right organizations, into the right clubs, both electronically, like web-based and social media and all this. But I do believe to really build relationships, you got to see these people.
Yeah.
You got to be in their presence.
Absolutely. Kind of going back to the very beginning, too, of putting yourself out there, it kills me. We'll work with somebody brand new, right? They're wanting to get into real estate investing. They're doing it, but they're hesitant to put themselves on social media. And that blows my mind, because they'll say, well, you know what, I haven't been successful yet, so I don't want to put the word out there that I'm in real estate. I completely disagree with that.
Right.
If you want something to manifest and to happen, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to let people know what you're doing, right? And also, you would be surprised how good a referral lead is. Like, a referral lead is
the best.
Hands down the best thing that you're ever going to get. But people will say, well, oh, I'm not getting referral leads. How in the world are you going to get a referral lead if nobody knows what you're doing? Everybody should know what they're doing. Like, to the point to where I should be able to go to your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever, and just within a couple of minutes, I should know what you're about, like what you do. I think if people go to my social media, they're going to know what I do.
I set up a profile one time. Right? I take the right pictures, I put the right posts up, and that stuff just works for me. And look, and I know you know this, people sometimes will say, well, it could be what you just said. Well, I'm not really getting the leads from it yet. Or they might say, well, no one's looking. They're looking, aren't they? I mean, when you're out there talking to sellers or you're networking, people think, oh, no one checks my Facebook. You know, I only have 100 friends. Oh, you'll be shocked how many people go and check you out on these places.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, too, like as I look back at some of our partners that's told us, like, yeah, I don't really want to put myself out there because I haven't done a deal yet.
Yeah.
And here's my advice to you. So partners of us, listen up. And I would like to mention, Peter and I partner with individuals across America where we mentor them, we give them technology. He actually puts his money up for the deals, and we split profits. So a lot of people are like, but you know what? On my social media, people that know me know that I don't have money to buy houses. So I'm embarrassed to put myself out there. And here's my answer to that. Because you have aligned yourself with Partner Driven, you do have the funds. You're going to piggyback off of the success that we've had as investors, success that other partners have had. So debunk that myth of not wanting to put yourself out there because you're embarrassed of what your family and your friends might think. Like, there ain't no way they got enough money to buy properties for cash. Hey, if you're a partner, you do, don't you?
Well, and that's the other thing. We're in the business of leverage, right? And I always tell people, especially in, you're hitting this money side, and people are thinking, well, I don't want to put myself out. First of all, who cares what your friends and family think, right? I mean, just because you're a buddy you play softball with doesn't think you have $1 million.
I mean, I remember the first couple videos I did for us in real estate. Right. I was so embarrassed, but my family did make fun of me. Like they don't make fun of me now, but they did. Well, they were like, I can't believe you're doing these videos about this.
Can't let that get in the way. But remember, again, we're in the ultimate business for leverage, right? So let's say, and I'm just going to use an example. Let's say you have $10,000 to your name, and you're thinking to yourself, well, why would I put myself on social media and I only have $10,000? Well, in real estate, it's very easy to leverage 10 to 1. Meaning for $10,000, you have the ability to buy a $100,000 property. Well, that gives you options all of a sudden, right? You could leverage through relationships. Like Julie said, we connect with people across the United States. And when you're leveraging us from a relationship, we give you pretty close to unlimited capital to do deals. So don't forget, it's not a dollar for dollar business. It's literally not a dollar. Plus, there's different techniques and strategies, right?
I mean, there's ways to buy properties with no money down. I mean, and you're leveraging time. Actually, what's crazy is everybody thinks the thing that you leverage is money. Your time is actually probably more powerful than the money that you have in the bank. So don't be embarrassed when you're putting yourself out there that maybe you're not financially as far along as that you want to be. Because you do have the resources, you're putting your time in. And that's more powerful than gold, silver, dollar bills, yen, whatever, right?
No question about it. I mean, if you think about it, every facet of this business is like that. How much money is too much? Like if you want to do a deal, you only, what if you want to do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 deals, right? So the abundance is true in all facets of this business. But it's really, really true in the relationship side. And here's why, we talk about you got to get it out there. Number one, and we kind of had this premise when we started, when you knew you got to get out there. It's not true. When you're anything, you want to get out there, right? Even if you've been at this thing like we have over a decade. The other reason, and this is a thing where people I think miss it, and I kind of maybe even the way I positioned it could be misinterpreted. I said you want to get out there because you want to build a team. You got to have the right realtor. You got to have the right closing attorney. You got to have the right money guy. You got to have the right contractor. We know that, right? But then people will say, well, I got mine. Pete, I got my contractor. I got my money guy. I got my closer. I got my realtor. But the other thing is there's other things that take place in this business. Like I can honestly say every technique, every strategy, everything I've done in this business has come as a result of relationships, right? You know, I started doing land deals. Why? Because I met the right person. You know, I started rezoning. Why? Because I met the right person. You know, we started doing fix and flips a certain way. Why? Because I've learned that from the right person. So it's beyond just building a team, which is important, by the way. It is also getting into other opportunities, learning, understanding, you know, having things happen to you that otherwise wouldn't have happened to you. This is a relationship-based business, 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I think really our thoughts and sentiments to you is don't worry about what anybody else thinks in the first place, right? Get out there. Put yourself out there as a solution provider in this business. You want to get referrals. There is no competition in this business in real estate that you don't want to know. I mean, if you're a real estate agent, right, and you're like, well, I don't want to compete with somebody. Real estate agents work with each other. There's a listing agent, there's a buyer's agent. If you're a listing agent, you want the buyer's agents to like you. If you're a buyer's agent, you want the listing agents to like you. If you're a real estate investor, you work with a lot of real estate investors. You want them to do business with you. The same with anything else, contractors, 100%. Money people, title companies, attorneys, the whole 9 yards. So last piece of advice on this subject.
You can't start too soon. You know, sometimes people, like you said, you're a rookie and you kind of pull back. Well, no, you can't start too soon, and you can't go too big. Meaning you can't have too many contacts in this industry. You know, it's interesting, even at the level I'm at of a couple decades in this business, I still building contacts in the exact same lanes of this business. Like I'm still building contacts in the money side. I mean, I got pretty good access to money. But guess what? I'm still building it. So you can't start too soon, and you can't go too big. And I'll tell you one other thing. I believe and this goes without a shadow of a doubt. Building relationships is something that'll make you more money than anything else in this business. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I love it. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode. We'll see you next time.